feel it, don't you? A persistent, quiet hum of dissatisfaction. You follow the map society gives you. You chase the moments of intense joy, the flashes of pleasure, the thrilling highs. You believe that if you can just collect enough of these bright, shiny moments, they will add up to a happy life. Yet you often find yourself in the quiet moments after the thrill has faded, feeling just as empty as before, if not more so. The hunger for more pleasure seems to grow with every taste. We are taught from a young age that happiness is something to be pursued, something to be captured. It's the next purchase, the next vacation, the next promotion, the next fleeting romance. It's always just around the corner. We live like hunters, constantly tracking the scent of our next joyful experience. We believe that a life of happiness is a life filled to the brim with pleasure, and so we run and we chase and we grasp, hoping to finally feel full. And sometimes you succeed. You catch one. For a moment, everything is wonderful. The world feels bright, your heart feels full, and you think, this is it, this is happiness. You hold that moment of pleasure tightly in your hands, trying to make it last. But like a butterfly, its beauty is fragile and its life is short. Before you know it, the color fades, the glow dies down, and it slips through your fingers, leaving you with nothing but the memory and a renewed sense of lack. The problem isn't your effort. You are trying your best. The problem is the map you were given. This endless chase, this cycle of wanting, getting, and wanting again, is a race with no finish line. The more you run, the more tired you become. The more pleasure you consume, the more you need to feel the same effect. It's a treadmill that speeds up the faster you go, and it leaves you breathless and no closer to a true, lasting sense of peace or contentment. Look at the ground beneath your feet. While you were busy chasing things outside of yourself, you have been standing on a plot of land that is uniquely yours. It is your character, your mind, your soul. But it has been neglected. It is a barren, empty garden, cracked and dry from a lack of attention. You have spent all your energy seeking external delights, while the potential for true, deep-rooted joy lies dormant and ignored right where you are. You are not alone in this feeling. This is the modern condition. We are surrounded by promises of instant gratification. Our phones buzz with notifications, our screens flash with advertisements for happiness, and our culture celebrates the highlight reel of life. We are told that an empty garden can be filled instantly. We are sold quick fixes and superficial solutions to a deep, human need. This constant noise makes it hard to hear the quiet wisdom that has been known for centuries. This frantic search for pleasure isn't just ineffective, it actively prevents you from finding what you truly seek. It keeps your focus outward, on things you can get rather than inward on the person you can become. It mistakes the symptom, a lack of joy, for the disease, which is a lack of deep fulfillment. It's like drinking salt water to quench your thirst. It seems like the right thing to do in the moment, but it only deepens the underlying problem, leaving you more dehydrated than before. So you are left standing in your barren garden, tired of the chase. You've tasted pleasure and it has left you wanting more. You've followed the rules and they have led you to a dead end. This brings you to a critical, powerful question. It's a question that can change everything. If this frantic chase, this endless hunt for pleasure will never lead to lasting happiness, then what will? What is the alternative? This is a question that challenges the very foundation of our modern lives. It asks us to stop, to breathe, and to consider that maybe, just maybe, happiness isn't a destination we arrive at or a prize we win. It forces us to confront the possibility that our efforts have been completely misplaced. We have been trying to decorate our lives from the outside, when the real work, the work that matters, has always been an inside job. The emptiness you feel is not a sign that you are broken. It is a call to action. It is your inner self telling you that the current strategy isn't working. It is an invitation to turn your attention away from the fleeting butterflies and toward the soil beneath your feet. It's a signal that it is time to stop chasing and start cultivating. But how? What does it mean to cultivate a life of fulfillment instead of chasing a life of pleasure? So faced with this empty garden, what is our first instinct? It's to fill it quickly. We think the problem is the emptiness itself, so we rush to the marketplace of quick fixes. We buy things that promise to bring life to our barren land. We order plastic flowers and artificial grass. These are the material possessions, the social media validation, the binge watching, the superficial thrills we use to cover up the emptiness we feel inside. They are easy and instant. For a moment, this strategy seems to work. Your garden, once barren and gray, is now filled with vibrant color. From a distance, it might even look real. The plastic flowers are bright, the artificial turf is perfectly green. You post a picture of it and the likes pour in. People praise your beautiful garden. This is the temporary high of a new purchase, the validation of online approval. It's a flawless, perfect, and utterly lifeless imitation of joy. But you have to live in this garden, and when you get up close, you see the truth. The plastic flowers have no scent. They do not attract bees or butterflies. The artificial grass is rough and cold to the touch. Nothing grows here. Nothing changes. There is no life, only the illusion of it. This is the feeling you get when the novelty of a new phone wears off, or when the buzz of 100 likes fades into silence. It's a hollow victory. This approach, the path of filling our lives with distractions and possessions, requires constant maintenance, not of growth but of acquisition. The plastic flowers fade in the sun. The trends change. The happiness you bought yesterday is outdated today. So you must go out and buy more, newer, better plastic flowers to maintain the illusion. This is why chasing pleasure is so exhausting. You are not building anything lasting. You are just perpetually redecorating an empty room. This common trap is built on a fundamental misunderstanding of happiness. It treats happiness as a commodity, something that can be bought, owned, and displayed. It assumes that the more happy things you possess, the happier you will be. But deep human fulfillment is not a thing you can own. It is a state of being you must inhabit. It is not about what you have. It is about who you are. The plastic flowers can never become a part of the garden. They just sit on top of it. The deep truth is that this artificial garden creates a barrier. It prevents you from doing the real work. By covering the cracked, barren earth with a layer of plastic, you hide the very place where real growth is possible. You are avoiding the discomfort of looking at the emptiness, but in doing so, you are also avoiding the opportunity to plant something real. True fulfillment requires you to get your hands dirty, to face the soil as it is, not as you wish it were. This is the great deception of the modern pursuit of happiness. It promises an easy path, a shortcut to a beautiful garden, but the path is a circle and the garden is a fraud. It keeps you busy, distracted, and consuming. It convinces you that the answer is always one more purchase away, one more click away, one more episode away. It's a brilliant system for selling you things, but a terrible system for building a life of meaning. Eventually, a storm will come. Life always brings challenges, a job loss, a heartbreak, a moment of deep doubt. A storm of wind and rain will sweep through your life. The artificial garden offers no shelter. The plastic flowers are blown away. The fake turf is ripped from the ground because they have no roots. When pleasure is your only goal, you have nothing to hold onto when life gets hard. The storm reveals the truth you have been avoiding. And you are left once again standing in your barren garden. But this time is different. You are not just empty, you are defeated. You tried the quick fix and it failed spectacularly. You have seen the illusion for what it is. The exhaustion is deeper now. This is a crucial moment. It is the point of surrender. The point where you finally admit that you do not know the way and that the common path is a lie. It is only from this place of surrender that a new path can emerge. You have to be tired enough of the chase. You have to be disappointed enough by the artificial solution. You have to be willing to admit that you need a different kind of wisdom. The failure of the flawed solution is not a tragedy. It is a necessary lesson. It clears the ground for something real to be planted. It prepares the soil of your soul for a new kind of seed. The chase for pleasure is a horizontal path. You run across the surface of life from one thing to the next. But true fulfillment is a vertical path. It is about digging down, deepening your roots, and growing upwards. You can't find it by running faster on the surface. You can only find it by stopping, turning inward, and starting to dig. This is the fundamental shift in direction that ancient wisdom asks us to make. Think about the most satisfying moments of your life. Were they moments of passive consumption or moments of active creation and connection? Was it watching a movie, or was it mastering a difficult skill? Was it buying a new shirt, Or was it a deep conversation with a friend you helped through a hard time? The joy that lasts, the joy that builds us up, almost always comes from effort, from engagement, from meaningful action, not from passive pleasure. So the common trap is not just a detour, it's an education. It teaches you through bitter experience what happiness is not. It is not a shiny object. It is not a perfect photo. It is not a fleeting sensation. This is a painful but invaluable lesson. Without it, you would never feel the deep need to search for a better way. The failure of the plastic garden is the very thing that makes you ready to learn how to cultivate a real one. This moment of realization is the end of an old story and the beginning of a new one. The story of happiness as a hunt is over. A new story, happiness as a harvest, is about to begin. But it requires a guide. It requires a philosophy that is not built on quick fixes but on timeless truths about the human condition. It requires someone to show you not where to find a flower, but how to grow your own. You are ready now. You have seen the emptiness of the chase and the hollowness of the artificial. You are sitting in the raw, uncomfortable, but potential-filled soil of your own being. You are no longer looking for a shortcut. You are ready for the real path, no matter how challenging it may be. You are ready to listen to a different kind of voice, a voice that speaks not of pleasure but of purpose and potential. Into this quiet space of readiness, a new idea can finally enter. Over 2,000 years ago, a philosopher named Aristotle looked at the same human struggle. He saw people chasing wealth, honor, and pleasure, only to find themselves unfulfilled. He saw the same empty gardens and the same exhausting chase. And he offered a revolutionary answer that has echoed through the centuries, an answer that changes the entire goal of the game. Aristotle's wisdom begins with a simple, powerful shift. He suggests we stop asking, "What will make me feel good?" and start asking, "What is the best way for a human to live?" He wasn't interested in fleeting feelings of happiness. He was interested in what he called eudaimonia. This word doesn't mean happiness in the way we think of it. It means human flourishing. It means living at your best, realizing your full potential. Here is the turning point. This is the core thesis that can change your life. Lasting fulfillment is not a prize you chase, but a garden you cultivate within yourself through meaningful action. It is not about what happens to you, but about what you choose to do. It is not a passive feeling, but an active process. Your life is the garden, and you are the gardener. This single idea shifts the power entirely back to you. This is a radical departure from the chase. The gardener does not run after butterflies. The gardener understands that if you create a healthy, vibrant, life-filled garden, the butterflies will come on their own. And even if they don't, you are still left with a beautiful, thriving garden. The joy is a byproduct of the cultivation, not the goal of it. The focus is on the work, the process, the growth itself. What is this cultivation? For Aristotle, it meant living a life of virtue. Now, virtue can sound like an old, stuffy word, but all it means is excellence of character. It means building good habits. Virtues are the seeds you plant in your garden. Courage, generosity, honesty, kindness, wisdom, self-control. These are not abstract ideals. They are practical skills for living well. They are the tools the gardener uses to bring the garden to life. This idea is empowering because it is not dependent on luck or circumstance. You cannot control whether you win the lottery or whether someone likes your photo, but you can always choose to act with courage. You can always choose to be a little more patient, a little more honest, a little more kind. Your inner garden is the one place where you have true agency. You are in charge of what you plant and what you water. So happiness is an activity. It's the activity of gardening. It's the daily work of tending to your character. It won't always feel good. Pulling weeds is hard. Tilling the soil is tiring. Some days there will be no visible growth. But you are not seeking momentary pleasure. You are engaged in the deeply satisfying long-term project of building a flourishing life. You are creating something real, something with roots. This pivot is a move from being a consumer of happiness to a creator of it. A consumer asks, "What can the world give me?" A creator asks, "What can I give to the world?" By focusing on cultivating your virtues, your actions begin to benefit not just you, but everyone around you. A garden doesn't just delight the gardener, it provides beauty and shade for all who pass by. Your flourishing becomes a source of flourishing for others. This doesn't mean you must reject all pleasure. Aristotle was not against pleasure, he simply saw it in its proper place. Pleasure is like the warmth of the sun on the gardener's back. It's a welcome and enjoyable part of the process, but it is not the reason the gardener is out there. The gardener is there to cultivate the garden. The warmth is a bonus, a sign that things are going well. It is an indicator, not the objective. This ancient wisdom frees you from the tyranny of your feelings. If you are chasing pleasure, you are a slave to your moods. If you feel bad, you think you are failing. But if you are a gardener, you know that some days are cloudy and some are sunny. You don't stop gardening just because it's a cloudy day. Your commitment is to the process, not to a particular feeling. This creates a stable, resilient foundation for your life. So the invitation is simple: stop looking outside. The butterflies of pleasure are beautiful but unreliable. Stop trying to fake it. The plastic flowers are a hollow comfort. Turn your attention to the soil beneath your feet. Your character, your potential, your soul. Pick up the tools. Pick up the seeds. The most important work of your life is about to begin. It's the slow, steady, and deeply meaningful work of becoming a gardener of your own being. You have accepted the call. You have the seed of potential and the watering can of daily action. But where do you begin? The first act of a good gardener is not planting but preparing the soil. This is the work of self-reflection. You must look honestly at the state of your garden. What is the ground made of? What weeds have taken root? What parts are dry and neglected? This requires courage and honesty. This means looking at your habits, your automatic reactions, your ingrained patterns of thought. The weeds are the habits that hold you back. Your procrastination, your negative self-talk, your fear of failure, your habit of blaming others. You cannot simply plant new flowers on top of them. They must be faced and gently but firmly pulled out by the root. Each weed you remove makes space for something better to grow. Now you are ready to plant. Remember those seeds. Each one is a virtue, a strength of character. Let's start with courage. This doesn't mean not being afraid. It means acting in the face of fear. It's the courage to have a difficult conversation, to start a new project, to stand up for what is right. Every time you choose to act despite your fear, you are planting a seed of courage. The garden is not a monologue, it is a dialogue. You must listen to the soil. Aristotle called this finding the golden mean. It's about balance. Courage is the mean between recklessness and cowardice. You need to know what your specific garden needs. Too much water can be as bad as too little. This is the wisdom of practice, of paying attention, of learning from your mistakes. You become a better gardener through gardening. Next, you plant the seed of generosity. This isn't just about money. It is the generosity of your time, your attention, your praise. It is sharing your knowledge without expecting anything in return. It is listening fully to another person. Each act of giving, no matter how small, enriches the soil of your garden. A garden that shares its bounty becomes more lush and attracts more life. It creates a virtuous cycle. Then there is the seed of temperance, or self-control. This is the virtue that directly counters the chase for pleasure. It is the ability to say no to a fleeting desire for the sake of a greater, long-term good. It is choosing the healthy meal over the junk food, the difficult work over the easy distraction. This virtue builds the fences of your garden, protecting it from being overrun by impulsive wants. But planting is not enough. The most crucial part of gardening is the daily, patient watering. This is the power of habit. An act of courage done once is a good start, but a small act of courage performed every day becomes a part of who you are. Your character is the sum of your habits. The watering can is your consistency. It is the small, steady efforts that lead to transformation. You will have setbacks. There will be droughts. There will be pests. Some seeds won't sprout. This is not failure, it is feedback. Life will challenge your growing garden. This is where resilience is born. A garden that has survived a storm has stronger roots. Your character is not forged in the easy times, but in how you respond to the difficult ones. Each challenge is an opportunity to deepen your practice. Consider the virtue of honesty. This begins with being honest with yourself. It means acknowledging your weaknesses without shame. It means seeing your own role in your problems. From this self-honesty, you can then be honest with others. This builds trust, the very soil in which relationships grow. A garden built on honesty has nothing to hide. It is strong because it is transparent. And what about wisdom? This is the master virtue. Aristotle called it practical wisdom. It's the ability to know which virtue to apply in what amount at what time. It's knowing when to be courageous and when to be patient, when to speak up and when to listen. This wisdom doesn't come from a book. It grows from the experience of gardening itself. It is the gardener's intuition, honed over seasons of practice. Your garden is uniquely yours. Your neighbor's garden might be full of magnificent, tall sunflowers, but perhaps your soil is better suited for deep-rooted, sturdy oak trees. Comparing your garden to others is a path to misery. Your journey is about discovering what can grow in your soil. What are your unique strengths and inclinations? Cultivating your potential means becoming the best version of yourself, not a copy of someone else. This process is slow. In a world of instant downloads and overnight delivery, we have forgotten the virtue of patience. A garden does not bloom overnight. There will be long periods where it seems like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are spreading, strength is gathering. You must trust the process. The work itself is the reward, the steady cultivation, the quiet connection to your own growth. This approach redefines success. Success is no longer measured by how much pleasure you accumulate. Success is measured by the quality of your garden, by the strength of your character. Are you more patient today than you were last year? Are you kinder, more courageous? This is a game you can always win because the competition is only with who you were yesterday. Every small, virtuous act is a victory. Think of your relationships. Chasing pleasure can make relationships transactional. What can this person do for me? How do they make me feel? But a gardener of the soul asks, how can I help this person flourish? How can I practice generosity and kindness in this relationship? This shift transforms your connections with others from a source of validation into a field for practicing virtue. The beauty of this path is that it integrates all parts of your life. Your work is not just for a paycheck. It's a place to practice diligence and creativity. Your family is not an obligation. It's a place to practice patience and love. The gym is not a chore. It's a place to practice discipline. Every context becomes a new part of your garden, a new opportunity to till the soil and plant a seed. Remember, the goal is not a perfect garden. A real garden is messy. It is alive. It has weeds you must constantly manage. It has plants that die and become compost for new life. Perfection is not the goal. Flourishing is. A flourishing life is not a life without problems, but a life where you have developed the inner resources, the character, to meet those problems with grace and strength. You are not just planting virtues, you are cultivating a state of being. The more you act with courage, the more you become a courageous person. The more you practice generosity, the more you become a generous person. The actions shape your identity. You are not faking it until you make it. You are becoming it through doing it. The gardener and the garden slowly become one. This deep wisdom from Aristotle offers an antidote to the anxiety of modern life. So much of our anxiety comes from trying to control things we cannot control. What others think of us, what will happen tomorrow. The gardener's path brings your focus back to the one thing you can control: your own actions, your own choices, your own character. This is the source of a profound and unshakable peace. So the work continues, day by day, action by action, seed by seed. You are not chasing a fleeting feeling anymore. You are engaged in the lifelong, meaningful, and deeply satisfying project of creating a flourishing soul. You are learning to find joy not in the destination, but in the journey itself. You are finding fulfillment not in getting, but in growing. Every time you choose the harder, better path, the path of virtue, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. Choosing to read a book instead of scrolling mindlessly is a vote. Choosing to listen instead of interrupting is a vote. Choosing to go for a walk instead of staying on the couch is a vote. These small votes, cast consistently, are what build a life of genuine well-being. This is how you build an inner fortress. Not a fortress with high walls to keep the world out, but a garden so vibrant and strong that it gives you a place of refuge and strength to engage with the world more fully. When you have a flourishing inner life, you are less needy, less desperate for external validation. You can give to the world from a place of fullness, not from a place of lack. This path is not easy, but it is simple. It is available to every single person, regardless of their station in life. You do not need money or status to practice kindness. You do not need a fancy degree to practice patience. The tools for cultivating your garden are inherent within you. They are your choices, your attention, and your will. It is the most democratic path to a good life. The pursuit of pleasure makes you fragile. Your happiness depends on external things being just right. The cultivation of virtue makes you anti-fragile. Challenges and setbacks don't just fail to break you, they make you stronger. Every difficulty you overcome is like a nutrient that feeds your garden, making it more resilient and more beautiful. You learn to welcome challenges as opportunities for growth. Over time, you begin to notice a change, not just in your garden, but in your perception. You start to see the beauty in effort. You start to appreciate the slow, quiet process of growth. The frantic, desperate need for the next hit of pleasure begins to fade. It is replaced by a quiet, steady, and deeply rooted sense of contentment. You are no longer hungry because you are learning to nourish yourself. Think of friendship, another virtue Aristotle prized. True friendship is not based on pleasure or utility, on what you can get from someone. It is based on a shared commitment to goodness. You and your friend help each other cultivate your gardens. You admire the good in them and want to see it grow. This is the most stable and fulfilling kind of human connection, a partnership in virtue. The focus on character also changes your relationship with failure. If your goal is pleasure, failure is a disaster. If your goal is to cultivate your garden, a failure is just a lesson in horticulture. You learn what doesn't work. You learn what that particular plant needs. You simply adjust your approach and try again. Failure becomes an essential part of the learning process, not a judgment on your worth. This is the essence of living a philosophical life. Not to have all the answers, but to live by a guiding principle. To have a compass that points you toward your own flourishing, no matter what storms you face. Your garden becomes your compass. In any situation, you can ask, what action here will best cultivate my garden? What choice represents the person I want to become? This is a quiet revolution. It is not loud or flashy. It will not get you a million likes. It is the silent, daily decision to be a little better, to act with a little more integrity, to cultivate your own small patch of the world with care. But these small, quiet acts, when compounded over a lifetime, are what create a soul that is deep, strong, and beautiful. This process is never finished. There is no point where you can say, my garden is done. A living garden is always growing, always changing, always in need of tending. And this is the beauty of it. It provides a lifetime of meaningful work. It is a purpose that can never be exhausted. To be a human is to be a gardener, and the project lasts as long as you do. Slowly, something miraculous begins to happen. As you focus on the work of the garden, on cultivating your character, the world begins to change. Or rather, your experience of it changes. The joy that you chased so desperately before, the joy that always eluded you, starts to appear on its own. It comes not as a loud, frantic butterfly, but as a quiet, gentle hum of well-being. This is the great paradox. By giving up the chase for pleasure, you open the door for a deeper, more resilient kind of joy to enter your life. This joy is not a high, it's a foundation. It's the quiet satisfaction of a day well lived. It's the peace that comes from knowing you are acting in alignment with your best self. It's the natural result of a flourishing garden. All the threads now come together. The empty chasing, the hollow plastic flowers, the hard work of tilling the soil, the patient planting of seeds, the daily watering of habits. It all leads to this. A life that is not perfect but is whole. A life that is not always easy but is always meaningful. A life where happiness is not the goal, but the inevitable consequence of living well. You have become the gardener. Your hands are not clean, they are covered in the soil of effort. Your back is not rested, it is strong from the work. And your heart is not empty, it is full. Not full of fleeting pleasures you have captured, but full of the deep, abiding satisfaction that comes from creating something of value, something real, something that is uniquely and beautifully yours. Let us restate the central thesis in its most powerful form. Lasting fulfillment is not a prize you chase, but a garden you cultivate within yourself through meaningful action. It is the harvest of a well-lived life. Pleasure is the fruit you might find along the way, but fulfillment is the strength of the tree itself. And you have learned that the health of the tree is all that truly matters. You finally understand. The emptiness you felt was never a lack of pleasure, it was a lack of purpose. The anxiety you felt was never a lack of security, it was a lack of inner strength. You were looking for the answers in all the wrong places. The treasure you were seeking was never outside of you. It was buried in the neglected soil of your own potential, waiting for you to pick up a shovel and begin to dig. This garden is now your sanctuary and your source. When the world is chaotic, you can return to it. When you feel lost, you can tend to it. It is a constant, living reminder of your power, your potential, and your purpose. It is the physical manifestation of your best self, built one virtuous act at a time. It is the greatest project you will ever work on. And now you see the butterflies, they are everywhere. They are drawn to the life you have cultivated, but your relationship with them has changed. You no longer feel the desperate need to catch them. You can simply appreciate their beauty as they pass. You can delight in their presence without needing to possess them. You have found a joy that is not dependent on them, and so you are free to truly enjoy them. This is true happiness, not a manic, breathless high, but a deep, resonant peace. It is the feeling of being in the right place, doing the right work. It is the alignment of your actions with your values. It is the quiet hum of a soul in full bloom. It is the simple, profound joy of being a good gardener. This is the eudaimonia that Aristotle spoke of. This is human flourishing. This entire journey, from the barren land to the flourishing garden, was powered by a single shift in perspective. A shift from chasing to cultivating, from consuming to creating, from seeking pleasure to seeking purpose. This is the timeless wisdom that can ground you in a chaotic world and provide a path to a life of genuine, lasting, and unshakable well-being. The metaphor of the garden is not just a story. It is a map for your own life. The garden is your inner world, your character. The soil is your mindset. The weeds are your limiting habits. The seeds are your potential for good. And the watering can is your daily choice to act. The metaphor is powerful because it is real. The work is waiting for you. You don't need to make a grand, sweeping gesture. You don't need to announce to the world that you are changing your life. The work of a gardener is quiet, humble, and private. It starts with one small choice: the decision to pull one weed, the decision to plant one seed, the decision to water one sprout. The journey of 1,000 miles or a flourishing garden begins with a single step. This is not about adding more to your to-do list. It's about changing the intention behind what you already do. When you exercise, do it not just for your body, but as a practice of discipline. When you talk to a loved one, do it not just to pass the time, but as a practice of presence and kindness. Infuse your existing life with the purpose of cultivation. The world will continue to shout at you, offering shortcuts and shiny objects. It will always be easier to buy a plastic flower than to grow a real one. The pull of instant gratification will be constant, but you now have a different compass. You have the quiet satisfaction of the gardener's path. You know the difference between the illusion of happiness and the reality of fulfillment. So as you finish watching this, do not feel overwhelmed by the need to build a perfect, magnificent garden overnight. That is the old way of thinking. Instead, leave with a single, transformative question that you can carry with you into your day. A question that can become your guide, your gardener's mantra. It is a question that brings all this wisdom into one actionable point. The question is this: what is one small thing I can do right now to tend to my garden? Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. Maybe it's sending a kind text you've been putting off. Maybe it's putting your phone down and taking 5 deep breaths. Maybe it's tidying one small corner of your room. A small act of order, of kindness, of discipline. One small drop of water on one small seed. Ask yourself this question when you wake up. Ask it when you feel bored or anxious. Ask it when you are faced with a choice between the easy path and the better path. Let it be the gentle voice that pulls your attention back from the frantic chase and returns it to the sacred ground of your own being. Let it be the start of your life's most meaningful work. Your life is not a race for pleasure. It is a garden to be cultivated. You are not a consumer of happiness. You are the creator of your own flourishing. This is the freedom and the responsibility that this ancient wisdom offers you. The power to grow a life of deep meaning and fulfillment has been in your hands all along. You just needed to be shown how to use it. The journey ahead is long, but you no longer fear it. You have a path, a purpose, and the tools you need. The most beautiful adventure is not the one that takes you to exotic places, but the one that takes you deeper into the richness of your own soul. The adventure of the gardener is the greatest adventure there is. Your inner garden is waiting. It is a place of infinite potential. It is ready for your care, your attention, and your love. Do not let it lie barren for another day. Begin the work. Begin it now. The world doesn't need another person chasing pleasure. It needs another person who has cultivated a garden so beautiful that it offers shade and beauty to everyone they meet. So let this idea settle within you. The chase is over. The frantic energy, the constant need for more, the hollowness of the temporary high, you can let it all go. You have been given a new map, a new direction. It doesn't lead outward toward the next shiny thing. It leads inward to the quiet, fertile ground of your own character. A profound peace comes from simply knowing which way to face. This is not about becoming a perfect saint. It is about being a human in progress. It is about embracing the process. The gardener finds satisfaction not only in the bloom, but in the act of pulling a weed, in the feel of the soil, in the patient act of watering. Learn to love the effort, for the effort is the transformation. The path itself is the destination. The next time you feel that old pull, that craving for a quick hit of pleasure to numb a feeling of emptiness, just pause. See it for what it is, the call of a plastic flower, a bright, shiny, lifeless thing. And in that pause, remember the feeling of real soil in your hands. Remember the promise of a single living seed. That memory alone is enough to help you choose a different path. This wisdom is your anchor. In a world that is constantly changing, your character can be your constant. Virtues like courage, kindness, and wisdom do not go out of style. They are the timeless foundation upon which a good life is built. By focusing on them, you are building your house on solid rock, not on the shifting sands of public opinion or fleeting trends. Carry this feeling of potential with you. You are a gardener. This is now your identity. In every interaction today, see an opportunity to plant a seed or pull a weed. See every challenge as a chance for your roots to grow deeper. This simple reframing can turn the most mundane day into a day filled with profound purpose and meaning. It changes everything. Leave behind the exhaustion of the chase. Embrace the invigorating work of cultivation. You are not running anymore. You are planting. You are growing. You are flourishing. The energy you once spent on pursuing happiness can now be invested in creating it right where you stand. This is the beginning of a new way of being. Your life is your masterpiece. Not a painting to be hung and admired from afar, but a garden to be lived in, tended to, and shared. A living, breathing work of art that evolves and grows as you do. Aristotle gave us the blueprint. The rest is up to you. The potential within you is immense. Like a seed, it holds the blueprint for a magnificent tree. But it requires your active participation. It needs you to create the right conditions, to do the work, to be the patient and dedicated gardener who believes in its future. So go forth and be a gardener. Find joy in the work. Find peace in the process. Find fulfillment in the flourishing of your own soul. The most beautiful life is not the one with the most pleasure, but the one with the most character. The world is full of hungry ghosts, endlessly chasing what they can never truly hold. Be a source of nourishment instead. Be a garden in the desert. Your own flourishing is the greatest gift you can give to the world. Remember the feeling of this truth. Happiness is not found. It is grown. It is the natural scent that rises from a well-tended garden. It is the quiet music of a life lived in harmony with its own potential. Let the chase end today. Let the cultivation begin. Your soil is waiting. Your seeds are ready. The sun is rising on a new day and on a new way of living. What will you choose to grow? The power was never out there. It was in you all along. In your hands, in your choices, in your heart. You are the gardener, you are the garden, you are the growth. The journey to a flourishing life is the greatest adventure you will ever undertake. It is a return to your truest self. Begin the journey. Take that first small step today and watch your world begin to bloom. Let this be the moment you decide to stop chasing butterflies and start growing flowers. The work is hard, the path is long, but the harvest is a life of deep and abiding meaning. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it.